Well, I'm Ken Sheffer.
And I'm Gary Sheffer.
We grew up on this street primarily in the early to mid 60s.
428 Union was our house. Two-story, two-family house, and we lived downstairs and our cousins lived upstairs.
And, I think we could easily say that many of our sort of most vivid memories are from here. This was our playground, our first playground. We had another one when we moved up near the tennis courts in the middle school up there. But I think we were sort of like a crime syndicate down here.
Yeah, I can't say the folks at the post office or the courthouse were glad that we were residents of Union Street, because this was our playground, right? You had a lot more freedom then, right? You could get into the buildings. Ken remembers when we would go downstairs when the jail was here, and they would just let you in and walk through the jail, and the inmates would yell at you and scare you, and they did, believe me, they scared me. But same thing at the post office, we used to run through there, and I just remember the freedom that we had on the street going, and the people. Mainly a couple blocks this way and then up toward the other end. But we had friends on both sides, so we just traversed it back and forth.
So the sheriffs over here, I think, laughed as hard as they possibly could. They would send us down the very middle of between the cells. And of course, they knew that what kid wants to go in and look at a jail, but they thought it was kind of funny probably. But we did it quite often. Yeah. And they'd bang, the prisoners would ask for stuff and bang the jail. But I think we were completely unafraid of everything. I mean, we weren't allowed back home because our mother wanted us out of the house, but it's like what you do with music. We took you around. We can smell the smells of the street are still the same to us. To me, the post office smells exactly as it did when we basically terrorized it in the 60s.
We, that in the summer, warmer months, I guess I would say, when they opened those bay doors in the post office, you could smell the paper, you could smell the glue, whatever it was, and it still smells the same way.
They would let us lick the stamps. We would hide in the corner and wait for somebody to leave their mailbox open accidentally and take whatever was in there. But we'd put it back eventually. And Gary was actually a worse criminal than me,
probably,
if anybody can believe that. It's not true now, but I think this street taught us how to survive a lot. The Worth House, which is right here, which is WIRTH. He was the pastor of the Presbyterian Church. The girls in there were our friends.
And later a teacher at the high school.
Was he?
He was chemistry.
Mr. Worth?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember our friends. There were a lot more kids on Union Street at the time than there are today. And we had a friend, Ricky Woodward, who was up that way on the 600 block. There was the Marshes and the Cordados, or Hudson families. People
watching this will know them.
Yeah. And then the Worths were here. That's what I remember, is there were so many kids on this block. So if you went outside, you were bound to run into one of your friends. The place I didn't want to go was in the alley behind the house, which I think is Cherry Alley. I could be wrong about that, because it was, for whatever reason, the connotation you have about an alley, I didn't want to go back there. And there was a well-known homeless person that walked the alley, and Ken remembers our father and mother would.
His name is Hambone.
His name was Hambone, and they would give us our dad's old clothes and $1, give it to Ken because he was older, and put it on the garbage pails in the back so Hambone could pick them up. So that I can always remember. I loved it down here. I loved the post office. I loved all our friends. But that alley as a young kid was, I just didn't want to go back there unless I had a lot of folks with me.
There was a garage back behind it. It's not there anymore. But that garage door was open. It had a rope on it, and my father would come in and then say, somebody should go shut the garage. And we were like, well, what if Hambone is there? And everybody knows Hambone. He was a great bum, as they say. And my mother loved him, and so she would feed and clothe him. I hear that a lot of people did, so it's good, It was a good sort of mix. I think he was completely homeless, though. Must have been, something like that.
Yeah. So there was stuff behind us to do, there was stuff down here to do, and lots of people to,
Torture.
Yeah, in our little syndicate of, childhood crime, run around and have a lot of fun.